All right, good evening, guys. Today is Monday, August 8th, and I'm super, super excited for today's call because we get to share our takeaways from Coach Summit. So I know as far as announcements goes, you guys all know that we have every single challenge pack on sale right now, which I'm hoping you're all taking advantage of it. I know I am. And also hope you're having a great time bonding with all of your sisters and brother, because I believe some of the guys are enrolled too in the team cups. So I hope you guys are working together, strategizing, and doing whatever it takes. Also, Diamond Retreat, I have to start posting much more about it on the page, but you all know if you're gunning for Diamond, you're a 2016 coach, make sure that you have everything locked and loaded by September 14th. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into Coach Summit. I don't want to go over time. I'm hoping that we don't take much time, but I do know that for some of us, Coach Summit was really overwhelming. And I mean that in every great sense of the word, insane overwhelming. It was great. It had us thinking a lot. It made us realize the things we were maybe being too busy on and things we had to revamp or things that we just need a reminder on. So I know for me, I can't wait to share my takeaways, my top 3 takeaways out of so many that I had. So first, I'm going to start off with the 2 people that won't be on our call tonight, which is Yashira and Emily. Yashira, she posted something in Spanish. So I'm going to go ahead and try to translate to the best of my ability. So I'll read it in English and then I'll translate it. It says, si no vas, no llegas. Si no empiezas, no acabas. Si no eres, no estás. Si no sueñas, no creas. Si no observas, no ves. Si no sientes, no vives. So I'm going to go ahead and translate that. If you don't go, you don't get there. If you don't start, you don't finish. If you don't dream, you can't create. If you don't observe, you don't see clearly. You can't see clearly. If you don't feel, you can't live. So basically what she explained to us was that she didn't have one takeaway. She basically had this quote that really just stood up to her, and it made her realize that she had to really step up in her business. And she has been doing amazing since she came back from Coach Summit. So I know that those of you that do follow her, you have seen the tremendous amount of change and just energy that she's put into her business. So congrats to her. Let's see. That's Emily. Emily is an Emerald coach, and she is Jashira's coach, as a matter of fact. And her top 3 takeaways were she needs to share her story more. The second one is never think you're good enough or that you can't do it. And number 3 is be patient in the process. And then she sent me this quote by Gary Vee, which is the reason why people won't win is due to lack of patience. Amen to that. So next up, I'm going to turn it over to Melanie Diaz, who is going to talk about her takeaways.
Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first of all, being patient is one of the biggest things I've learned. I've only been doing this for about 6 months, but just realizing that it's not going to happen like overnight. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to realize that it's going to take time to develop skill and everything it takes to actually start communicating with people, especially for a lot of us who are really shy and come into the business just really wanting to help others and have to break out of that shell. So being patient and knowing that it's just not going to happen overnight. Like all these people who have had huge success is mostly because they have been super, super persistent and hardworking and consistent. But doesn't mean it's like that for everybody. A lot of us really have to give it the time. There's a lot of us who take years to even be diamond. Not that you should, but it takes time. It takes time to feel that you're in the right position to do so. Share your story. I'm really good at sharing my workouts and all this other stuff, but sometimes you need to share your story, like what motivates you, what drives you, everything, not just, I'm a picky eater. No, why? What have you been struggling with? For me, I've basically run on fast food my entire life. I am now 30, finally eating healthy. It took me a really long time, but me just saying I'm a picky eater is not enough. Having somebody relate to you, why you're picky, what have you struggled with, what's tough about what you're going through. Even saying, you know what, I don't feel like working out. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I've had a long day, but I'm doing it anyway. So just sharing your story, and not just what you're doing, but truth behind why you're doing it. And then being consistent is huge, because in order to build your business, you have to be consistent, which also goes with the patience part. You have to not just be consistent 1 or 2 days, but weeks, months, years. Consistency is what's going to make you get there. And that's something that most of us can continue to work on. And especially myself, I'm trying to get myself into some kind of routine and schedule. And now that my daughter's going to school, I'm hoping that that'll be a little easier, because she'll be at school from 12 to 3 and hoping to run my business around that time. So those are my biggest takeaways.
Awesome, Mel. Thank you so much for sharing. What has changed? What's one thing that you feel you did apply and are doing differently?
Mostly my story. Being more persistent on sharing it, and sharing the truth behind it, not just posting that I did my workout or that I'm eating this or eating that, but just the struggles that go with it, so that people can relate to you as a person and want to follow your story.
That makes sense. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mel. Next up, we're going to have Kari.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. All right. My first one was Cultiva la confianza supera el miedo, which Aubrey, she really impacted. Just her saying her story, I can relate to that, because it was the same with my mom. But her just saying those words is I always let fear get in the way. When I'm fearful, I just get stuck and I don't move forward. I noticed that I stay stuck. I stay in the same place and not attempt to move forward and get out of my comfort zone. So that really impacted me. But not only that, I didn't add it there because you only said 3, but also with Ivy Morales. She even prayed with me there, and she didn't know about fear. And she just came out and she's like, el enemigo, you got to cut him out of the way. And that was very impacting, just to know the community we're part of. But I don't want to keep going. And have the opportunity to take what I have and change someone's life. Brittany Powers, that was way inspiring about her. It's we have something so big, that can change so many lives. We need to stop being so scared and afraid and just go out there and share it. We just need to share it and not be icky and salesy. Just be open, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm so, I don't know, all the emotions and everything, just listening to everybody. It's wow, we have something huge here. Why am I not sharing it more with other people? Because sometimes I get stuck with the same people. And Mel knows that. So, and focus in your why, vision, what God has placed in me. That really hit a lot, because I know everybody spoke about, they kept emphasizing that, talking about your why, and my why has changed, because just like I said, when we all were together, it's we enjoy this cruise. My big why is my family. I want to be able to enjoy more cruises with my family, so I need to push more. I need to be out there. I just need to brand myself everywhere, and not be afraid, because I think that's what holds me back the most. So my why is that my family. God put Mel in my way for a reason, and we met way back. And for this to happen is because God knows what He has planned for me and my family. So I really need to refocus and go over my why again and rewrite it over again. And that's it.
Awesome. What's one thing that you implemented since you came back from Summit?
Yes. Mhm.
What's one thing that you implement?
Oh, one thing I implemented, be more out there and push myself more and just be consistent, because that's one thing that I have a problem with. So I'm talking to more people now, more people. I'm just being all out, just, be me, period. And I noticed that people have been reaching as well. I mean, it's taking a while, but it's like, Gary said, you need to be patient. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patty. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
So next, we're going to give it to Zelly. Is she there? Yep, there she is.
Yeah, I'm right here. You said Zelly, right?
Yeah.
You said me, right?
Yes.
Sorry, let me pull over. Give me 1 second. Your screen is not showing up. Can you guys see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So my 3 takeaways, my first one was why not me? And just listening to like the top coaches and everyone sharing, their story. It just really hit me, and especially seeing Melanie Mitchell top coach twice in a row. And I just kept asking, man, these people are just ordinary people that just decided to take this leap of faith and make it happen. Why not me? I have what it takes. So that was one. My second one was be committed beyond inconvenience. We all have something going on in our lives. And I truly believe that if we stay committed, no matter what happens. And what stood to me out was, I'm sure you guys heard the story. It's about a lady who her husband died, while she joined the business, and she's like, I don't have to be here, but I chose to be here because I didn't want to to leave this away from you guys. And it's just like, she had every excuse to not be there, and she still chose to be there. And for me, that was just like, it doesn't matter what's going on in our lives, we got to stay committed beyond what happens. And then number 3 was to want something big in life and not work enough doesn't work. And that was from Gary Vee. And it's true, we can't expect to want a big turnout, but then we don't show up every day, or we don't work enough for it. So those were my 3 takeaways from Summit. It was really impactful. It was actually my 3rd Summit. And for me, it just made a huge difference in my business. And I just think what I've been applying since I've been back, it's just like, no more just doing it afraid. And what I've been applying since I've been back is just showing up every day, no excuses. I don't go to bed without putting in my power hour. And I'm just not going to let fear get the best of me anymore, or excuses get in the way. So, and I've seen a huge, tremendous difference in my business, and it's only been a few days.
Awesome. Thank you, Zelly. Next up, we have Monica.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. My first takeaway was truth and transparency. When Shaun T spoke, he came out on stage very impactful in a way where I was a little bit uncomfortable because I didn't know where he was going to go. And then when he started talking about the truth, at the end of the day, everybody has their truth. Everybody has what they've gone through. Everybody has their past, regardless of good or bad, regardless of what type of upbringing it is, they have their truth. And for him to explain the truth and transparency, and for him to stand there and say, if I tell you to stand at the edge of the stage backwards, and I tell you to fall back, who do you think is going to be down? Who do you think is going to be on the floor to make sure that you don't fall, to catch you when you fall? And when he was like, you can only depend on yourself. And the only way that you can depend on yourself is by being truthful with yourself, accepting your past, no matter if it's good or bad, no matter how bad it's been, just accepting that it happened. Stop prolonging the pain, or prolonging the hurt, or prolonging the victimizing. It happened. You went through it, or you did it if you did it to somebody else, and you just move on. You have to move on, and you need to be able to accept it, not deny it, accept it, so that when you move on to success. And that really hit me hard, because it goes along with the whole story, the whole part of sharing your story. And there's bits and pieces of stories that I know everybody, I know that everybody has, or everybody's always at the beginning afraid to talk about. And we always say, share your story, share your story. And I've always said I've been trying my best to come up with the strength and confidence to share bits and pieces of my story, which I'm still not comfortable yet, but I know I have to accept. I have to accept it to move on. And it doesn't matter what part or aspect in your life it happened, it's going to affect your business. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect your success and your outcome. My number 2 takeaway is a really hard one. I think I still tear up every time I say it, but my mama worked too hard for me not to be great. And I posted about it not too long ago. Like, it still brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. A lot of people think that my life came easy because my mom, she definitely made my life as easy, and my parents, both my parents, but they definitely tried their hardest to make my life easy and make my brother's life. We had everything. My brother had Jordans to play basketball, and I had clothes up the yin yang, and we didn't really have those curfews, and we were raised with all honesty and with a lot of liberty to do the things that we wanted. We got our cars, we got our parties, we got our presents. We were always spoiled. I grew up easy, but my mom didn't, and my dad didn't. But especially my mom. My mom comes from probably one of the poorest families from where she's from. And for her to be a success, my mom's a businesswoman. And a lot of people don't, maybe I don't share it enough with my team or things like that, or with strangers, but my mom's a businesswoman. My mom built her empire. She built her legacy. She built her good reputation in the Latin community. And I think that's why I'm leaning towards more the Latin, like Beachbody Latino, like the Latin Beachbody aspect of it, because it comes from my mom's hard work. And I don't know, I didn't go to college. I mean, I did, but I didn't finish college. I don't have anything to prove to my parents that their hard work was worth it. And that one hit me hard. And a lot of us go through it. I had, my life was easy. Mi crianza was very easy, but it doesn't mean it didn't take hard work to get me to that. And I think it goes hand in hand with the whole truth and transparency part of it. And I think that's why those two things really hit me hard. Number 3 is the Snapchat and going live and how to and why. And I had Snapchat before, and I took it off because I just wasn't paying attention to it. I concentrated on Instagram, and now that I'm concentrating, adding Snapchat to it, now Instagram has Insta Snappy Live thing, which I'm going to be involving too, but just building the confidence to really go live, regardless if you only have one person viewing you at the time, or if you have 100 people viewing at the time. Just show up, be consistent. Sooner or later, your audience is going to grow, and you'll get to them to touch as many lives as you want to touch. So plus it's pretty fun, especially Snapchat. So those are my takeaways.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So other than getting the Snapchat, what else did you incorporate when you came back?
Let me see. I really want to say I incorporated my truth in the sense of when I'm posting, I'm kind of nitpicking little aspects of my life in each post. So like, for instance, Transformation Tuesday was one thing, Throwback Thursday was another thing, or our CTA post on Sunday was another. Like, I'm attacking these truths of my life, and I'm putting more value to my posts. And also another thing that I've implemented was using my like page more, because I had it, but I wasn't using it consistently enough. And now I'm actually going in there every day, trying to build the likes and the views and the audience in that page too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Monica.
Mm-hmm.
Up next we have Julissa.
Hey everyone. There were a lot of amazing takeaways from Summit, a lot of things to apply, but Melanie Mitro, which if you don't know who she is, she's our top coach for 2 consecutive years, and her segment of talking really resonated with me. She's top coach for a reason, and she grew up with these values instilled in her to be a hard worker, and some of us are learning these things, but what she had to say, those were my takeaways. And for her, she grew up with a mentality of you need to finish everything that you start. And I think I'm pretty decent at that, but it's always a good reminder. If you start a program, finish it through to the end. If you set a goal, maybe you set a goal to be emerald or diamond or whatever it is, don't quit before the miracle happens. Finish it to the end and work your hardest all the way to the end. And that goes with everything you do, even if it's in this business you signed up to be a coach or financial freedom or for whatever it was. Don't quit when times get hard. Finish it to the end. So you have to want it more, because there's always going to be somebody who's going to outwork you and who wants it more. So you have to be the person to decide, I want it more, and I'm going to put in the time and I'm going to put in the work to succeed at this. So want it more. It comes down to your why and how bad you want it. Stop doubting yourself, work hard and make it happen. A lot of my growth happens internally, and I'm one of those people that sometimes I let doubt, and those fears kind of talk me out of things, but just not leaving any room for it. Just stop doubting, trust in your hard work, and trust that if you're putting in the time, you will make this happen. You will reach those goals, because after all, you do want it more. It goes back to that first point. Then my last point, don't settle for average. Raise the bar and always strive to be the best at the task at hand. I grew up just being average, just barely skimming through, not always giving it 100%. If I could just get by, I'll be fine. And definitely through personal development, don't settle for average. You are capable of achieving so much more. But it is going to take work, because you're not going to be excellent at everything. So make sure that you're recruiting like a boss. And if you don't know how to do that, then make sure that you strengthen that weakness. And that's something that I've been applying. Business invites and business opportunity can be intimidating, but I'm making sure that that doesn't become a weakness for me. It's a weakness now, but you better believe it's going to be my strength. And just strive and let that every task that you do be the best. Don't let anybody outwork you. And then the last point, I didn't put it in there, but hard work attracts hard workers. So if you're working hard and you're giving it your all, those are the people that you're going to attract, and that's what your downline is going to see. And they're going to be following your lead and work just as hard and achieving similar results, if not better. So yeah, and after all of this, the biggest thing I've applied is just consistency. I've committed to a tracker. I've been hard with Melanie all this time. You gotta track, you gotta track, you gotta track. Well, I'm tracking now, and I make sure that I do not go to sleep until every item on my tracker is filled. And if I had a bad day and I'm procrastinating and I'm up till 1 a.m, then I'm up till 1 a.m, but I'm not going to bed until that's done. And I've definitely seen the fruit. I've got more prospects on my list and more lives to change, and just going to keep up the momentum.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Julie. Let me say something about tracking, because a lot of people might not know what that is. It's not something that I personally enforce as a team. Most people don't like to do it. And I don't, if there's something that I know, for example, for me, if there's something I don't like to do, there's no way I'm going to tell somebody else to do it. It just makes sense. And I remember Julissa telling me those words one time where she's like, well, I don't like to track, or I don't like to use an actual like technical tracker. So like, how do I tell my people to do it? And it's true. Like, it's hard to tell people to do something when you don't do it. So because of that conversation, we kind of just never really, enforced the tracker. But I am going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this. And when I heard this, I want to say it was last summit. I want to say it was either last summit or one of the Orlando Super Saturdays. I can't remember what it was. A coach said, and I heard it again this summit, by the way. They said, if you're not tracking, you don't have a real business, and you will not have a growing business. Like, just like that. And ever since, that stuck with me. So I track. I do a daily a daily checklist. And I tell you that I track in this book. I know who I'm supposed to follow up with at each day, what calls I'm making, who I'm talking to. Do I have the best system? Absolutely not. Some people still have fall down the crack. And I know how the way I know it's when I'm on Facebook forming people, and then I see like a status of theirs, and I'm like, oh, I was supposed to follow up with this person this day. So I still go through those moments. So I know I don't have a system that's 100%, but I can tell you that compared to last year, my system is up to 85. Like, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. So if you're not tracking, you should start tracking. If you don't know what I'm talking about, message your upline coach or message me. I'll be willing to send you a quick 3-minute video that talks about tracking from corporate. It's really good, along with the tracking sheet. And then, of course, you don't have to use corporates. You could create your own the way I did, something that fits my numbers and the way I do things. So, but the last one, share my top 3 takeaways. Honestly, there were so many, and everybody can tell you here, if you didn't go to Summit, like, we had a lot of them, but to me, these were the top 3. And then, of course, the very first one, because I'm an action kind of gal, I'm very competitive, hit me to the core. And one of the coaches that said the difference between an Emerald coach and a 15-star Diamond coach is the action. And that just rocked my world, because it's easy. And this is something, and Julissa is the only person that knows this. So now I'm totally being vulnerable and sharing with you. When I first heard Bonnie Engel, even of her, was in the National Wake Up Call. I want to say it was earlier this year. And Bonnie Engel, she enrolled as a coach. I want to say either a week before I did, or but a week before I did, or something like that. So we're literally around the same time. And up until that call, she was a 15-star Diamond coach in 2 years. And I remember listening to that call, getting off the phone, and the first time, I could tell you the very first time a National Wake Up Call really had a negative impact on me. And it wasn't Bonnie. Everything she had to say was on point. It was the comparison game. I had it. I remember calling Julissa, and I'm like, this coach, like, I literally called her like upset. Like, I wasn't crying, but I was upset. I was like, I can't believe this. Like, she became a coach around the same time I did. And look, like, I'm just a 1-star, and she's a 15-star Diamond, blah, blah, blah. So, like, when I can't even remember what coach said these words, it brought me back to that call, and it brought me back to that day, and the day that I called Julissa complaining. And it made me realize that the difference between Bonnie, who started a week before or after I did, I can't remember the exact date, that was the difference. It was her action, right? So, like, I came back, boom, and like that has been like my slogan literally this whole week, or the last 2 weeks. So number 2, and actually Zelly mentioned this, and I didn't even know that was one of hers, but it's definitely one of mine. You have to be committed beyond the inconvenience. And for me, so for example, something as simple as napping. I have to nap. because I'm a night owl. I like staying up to 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I love working, you know, when everybody's sleeping. I function better that way. So in the middle of the day, around 2 o'clock, I start feeling tired and I take a 45-minute nap before I get in the car and pick up my kids from school. It's literally a ritual. And that's one of those things where, and I told the girls, keep me accountable. Like, I'm not napping during the day. That's 45 minutes that I can spend talking to people, adding value to people, getting on live video, which, by the way, I have made, I think, like 4 since I came back, and it has been amazing. I've been getting messages and people just inspired and stuff. So speak your heart, whatever it is, and add value to people. So that's those 45 minutes. It's like in my mind, I'm like, instead of sleeping, I can add value on a live video or something like that. And then the third, and this is what I put into action, and was, you know, lead by example, and you have to be the best challenger in your challenge group. So who was it? Tanya Byron, if you guys don't know who she is the modifier in T25, and she's also in size, I believe. And I don't know what other video she's at, but she's one of Shanti's right hands, and she gave one of the workshops. It was called Get Results. And of course, she's all about challenge groups. She's actually one of the best people in this network that apparently runs challenge groups. People go to her for advice and things like that. And her challenge group was amazing. But somewhere along the lines, towards the end, she said, you have to be the best challenger in your group. You should always be on a program. You should never do a hybrid. And you shouldn't just get up and say, oh, what program am I going to do today? Well, I'm known for not completing programs. As a matter of fact, at this past Friday, when I had dinner with the Puerto Rico Market Council, Monica Lopez, we talked about that because, you know, we're just talking about business and stuff. And one of the things I told them, and it wasn't a joke, like I was honest, I said, hey, so yeah, like I don't know if I can count the 21-day fix being completed if I didn't do the yoga workouts. And one of the guys called me out. He's like, no, like you need the yoga workouts. You need to condition your body. You need blah, blah, blah. And like, he's really good. He's one of Autumn's right hands, and works with her a lot, and like does stage workouts on stage and all these things. So like, he's a huge Autumn Calabrese fan. And so he's like, you need to trust her process. We even talked about like the difference between Melissa McAllister's meal plan and like how I was doing it and I felt my best. And he like argued with me as to why Autumn was the best. So he's a huge Autumn fan, right? And anyway, so he's like, you really need to like, you know, complete a workout. Like he called me out, and I already had a plan, and Julissa is my witness, and so is Zelly and Monica. I think we like talked about what I was gonna do. But it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good for me to just be like, oh, well, yoga, like, who cares? Like, no, I should care, because that's what I will, at the end of the day, if that's my mentality, that's what I'm gonna teach my coaches and teach my challengers. And I don't want that, because then I'm teaching them to not to complete anything and to kind of settle. And that's not what I want to portray. So that's kind of my top 3 takeaways and how I put them into action. All 3 of them, I just said, okay, you know, well, the first one, it was more like a reality check. Like, okay, it brought me back in time. But the other 2 were just what do I have to be inconvenienced by? So like, if it's napping, then hey, then I will nap, you know, and like, that's more time I could put in a day. And then leading by example, I started 21-day fix extreme today with the Countdown competition plan, and I'm dying. But it's okay. Like, I have to be the best challenger, and I have coaches in that group too, which is good, because not only do I have challengers keeping me accountable, but I also have coaches that are seeing my action, and that keeps me on my toes, of course. So before I tell you who the next caller is going to be, or the next team call speaker is going to be, I want to open it up for any questions. Hold on. Or comments or concerns, anything. You have anything to say? We have a lot of new coaches here today. Corrales, welcome. Paulette, welcome. Who else? Let me see.
And Nicole is also my rock star.
Hi, Nicole, rock star. Been a coach for like 2 hours and enrolled 3 coaches. No, I'm kidding. But very proud of you, Nicole. Welcome to the team. Monica, Julie, anybody have anything else to say before Oh, Dashita's here. Yay! She wasn't supposed to hop on. Hi! Awesome. So I just realized I stopped sharing my screen and I need to share it again because I need to show you guys who the person is. I want to show you a picture of her. Oh. So next week, we're going to have Miss Audrey
Yay.
in our team call, and she is a recruiting boss. Like this woman, I love her. I love how awesome she is. I love how what she's like on social media. She has a Ruby personality, and she actually talked to me about a lot about personalities and the gems and stuff like that. So next week we're gonna have her sharing with us. She's gonna be sharing about inviting with confidence. So I'm super excited to have her with us. So let's jump on promptly at 9 o'clock. I know, look at Julie. She's like, yes, 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 yes. I know we're on a recruiting spree or blitz, or I don't even know what to call it anymore. So I have intentionally spoken to a few coaches. We have some great speakers coming up. So next week is Audrey Robles, and I'm going to tell you the other two speakers that I have lined up. On the 22nd, we have our very own Elizabeth that's going to be sharing about the first 3 months, 2.5 months of her, two and a half, right, Julie? That she's been coaching now, and her coaching career, and she is rocking it, and she has a great team right now, Emily and like other girls that are just rocking it as well. So super excited to hear from a brand new coach in our team who's rocking it. We're gonna learn from her, even myself, like I'm ready to learn from Elizabeth. And then the week after that, we have Amy Grasso with us, and I have not given her a title. I know she's super awesome, and so she's going to be sharing. I haven't shared a title just yet. I'm going to go based on how we're doing as a team, and that's how I want to focus on. So if you guys have any suggestions, by all means, message me directly, privately, and I may put that out there. So I have 3 more coaches that I am waiting confirmations on. So since I haven't gotten 100% confirmation, I don't want to share their names. Just know that for the rest of the year, you guys are gonna have some great training. But I wanted to get Summit out of the way because there's some of you that want to be a Summit. I know everybody that went to Summit this year is going to Summit next year, but we have a lot of you that want to go to Summit next year. So I wanted you to hear people's takeaways and how it was and things like that. So please get your Summit ticket as soon as possible. Right now it's $195. If you plan to stay, we need to speak by next week in regards to the house that we got for you guys. For all of us, 16 people that are going to fit there. And yeah, so super excited for what's to come. Super excited how we're going to end the year. We know it's going to be great. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns during the week, you know that you can message myself or your upline coach, and we will always be here for you. So with that said, I will go ahead and call it a night, and I want to thank you guys for showing up. Bye.